They're coming to get you, Barbara.
What an excellent day for an exorcism.
Touch pure evil.
Well, here we are. We made it all the way to episode number 2. I think we're back by popular demand, maybe. Semi-popular demand.
I dig what we're doing.
It was
cool
popular
reason to hang
amongst
out
us.
anyway,
Yeah.
you know?
Well, it's like this. If you're going to hang out and drink beer and talk about something on a consistent level, you might as well just start a podcast about it.
Isn't that what we do in today's age anyway?
Right.
I mean,
Right. I have an opinion. Everybody is going to have to listen to it. Well, anyhow, so we decided on this episode, since we are approaching Halloween, and there was a brand new Halloween movie released last week, we might as well talk about the Halloween franchise.
Yes.
So yeah, man, just I think diving right into it. Might as well talk about Halloween Kills to start things
Right
off.
out the gate, yeah. What's your opinion on it? I mean,
Well, I'd like to tell you that I wasn't really that hyped, but obviously I was. We both were. There's now record of it. We were both all super excited, like giddy little schoolboys on the first episode talking about it because it was released that day. And so we both left here and
went straight home.
Well, I guess I didn't leave anywhere. I left the basement and watched it. And, I was so excited, I think because the last one I thought really lived up to the original in the sense that it just didn't do anything necessarily to blow you away. It didn't take any chances, but it was just like, okay, after sitting through the Rob Zombie franchise,
right,
you finally got something that just felt like, okay, this is just a Halloween movie.
Yeah.
With
Rob Zombie, you expect something outlandish, and he delivers.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, love it or hate it, which, whatever, we'll talk about those films specifically at some point. But, as far as the new one goes, I appreciated the fact that they took some chances and some things I thought were just nonsense. So I know like you watched it multiple times already. I watched it once. I wanted to go back and rewatch it, but then like my daughter was wanting to go back and watch all the old ones. So I'm like, yeah, okay. So I was watching those with her, during the week. And I thought, well, it might be neat because I'm sure if this podcast keeps going and if it makes it a year, 2 years, whatever, we're such big fans of this franchise, we're going to talk about it again. And
absolutely.
I feel like with movies and albums with music's almost the same way too. Like sometimes I haven't decided how much I like it until I've lived with it for a while.
Right.
And really, I don't even know if the 2018 Halloween, I don't know if I've lived with that enough to know my opinion on it. I know that I liked it initially right out the gate. I left the movie theater like, yeah, that's a Halloween movie. That's how it should have been done.
Yeah.
And this one, my initial thought was that they kind of shit the bed on some things, many things. Did a really good job with, at first when I heard that Michael Anthony Hall was the Tommy Doyle, I was like,
right.
Really? Like it caught me off guard. I'm like,
he did a good job with the character.
Yeah.
But to me, he's almost too big of a name, an outsider name, to be brought into the series.
Right.
You know what I mean? Not that he did bad or anything.
Right.
It's just I see Anthony Michael Hall and I think Weird Science.
Yeah.
And all those. I mean, it was cool to see him, and he did, like I said, he did a damn good job, but he did not seem in place.
Right.
That's my opinion.
I was convinced with him. I didn't think it was going to work. I think he worked. I don't think the script did enough with his character.
Yeah, well, I think he seemed, the over-the-top Tommy, to me I could see him being to that point, but like the whole scene with the, where he walks out of the bar and, he's got old Huckleberry,
Yeah.
And the other escaped inmate is in the car. But And he's like, all badass and stuff, and he played it well. To me, it just didn't feel right.
Yeah.
I see Tommy Doyle. Actually, Paul Rudd, not that I like that Halloween as much as others.
Right.
But Paul Rudd did a good Tommy Doyle.
Yeah, I liked that version of Tommy for sure.
Right.
I thought it was like almost a bummer that they couldn't import that into this movie, But again, it's like, I don't know if it was Michael Anthony Hall as much as it's like there was just not the character build that there should have been with Tommy Doyle in this. I mean, you obviously already know who he is, right?
Yeah. Well, you don't need an explanation.
You don't need an explanation. But if they could have done like a little bit, I felt like Jamie Lee Curtis. Okay, she's not really in the movie a whole lot, right? Because obviously she's in the hospital and she's in there. She doesn't do a lot. I think she should have been in it less.
Yeah.
If they wanted to do this movie where they brought in like,
when she gets out of bed, she stabs herself in the ass with whatever, is in the needle and takes away the pain. And then she goes out and like gets the mob all around, and stuff. And it's like, that was totally unnecessary.
Yeah.
Totally unnecessary. There was no reason because it accomplished nothing. She ended up right back in the room. Yeah. It just seemed like extra filler.
It seemed like there was scenes with those characters that didn't need to be in the movie. And they could have easily spent that time building more on Tommy and Lindsay Wallace. And, I thought it was great that they brought the original, what's her name? Kyle Richards.
Oh, yeah.
They brought her back. Oh. And fuck, she grew up to be hot.
Yeah.
She's a MILF and a half.
Dude. Yeah.
Like, where'd she come from? But anyhow, but it was just like, because I think the way those characters were introduced to, it was just like, okay, so it just so happens that those two and the nurse just all are hanging out at a bar on Halloween. Like, I get that they were all survivors, and I get how Tommy Doyle and Lindsay.
The whole survivor party thing, just to me, just seems utterly ridiculous.
Yeah.
Why would they do it on Halloween? For one thing,
Well, why would the nurse? Why would they have ever known the nurse? I understand Lindsay and Tommy knowing each other, but the nurse, it was like, why would they have known? And like, she barely had a run-in with him, really. I mean,
yeah. Well,
she jumped out of the car. He jumped in the car, drove off.
Well, yeah. Because this one omits part two of the original because she was at the hospital when, so.
But that didn't happen.
It didn't happen in this one, yeah.
Which gets confusing, but yeah, I mean, you just got to remember those little stipulations, I guess, when trying to follow this new timeline.
Yeah.
Because now, there's like, you have the original 1 through 6, then you have 1, 2, jumping over to H2O to Resurrection. Now you have 1 to 2018 to Halloween Kills.
Yeah. What a convoluted storyline. And
I kind of enjoy it in a way, but I just wish they would have done this one better.
And to me, in this one, at the end, they're almost building it up like some kind of. I like to think of Michael Myers as a human. He can be killed, but it's like they're trying to I don't know if they're trying to push it into the whole Thorn area or what. You know what I mean? Because they're like,
now they're going back to the like supernatural type
thing,
like something else.
Because I mean, the ass whooping that he got in that street, nobody's going to live through that. You know what I mean? I mean, there ain't nobody's. He's been shot, she's stabbed. All this stuff. A normal man, which of course, he's not a normal man, but still, come on. I like to think of Michael Myers as a real element, real person, just batshit crazy.
Yeah.
No rhyme or reason to why he does.
Right. Which, I mean, obviously, like the original first two, you can kind of, other than him being shot, obviously, at the end of the first one and everything, but who knows where he got shot and then blah, blah, blah. There's obviously certain details that you could argue that, oh, well, it didn't hit any major arteries and he just kind of walked away.
You can dismiss a lot of things.
Yeah. But, getting burned at the end of 2, then they kind of...
Well, then they jumped to 3, of course,
Yeah, well, then in 4, it's like, okay, well, he was burned, but...
Yeah, well, and the thing is, they show his hands up close, and for what he went through in that hospital, they'd be way worse than that, And Loomis just got this little burn mark on his cheek and stuff. Yeah. It's like, come on, man.
Like, blew up, dude. It wasn't like it was like it was an explosion.
Right. right.
Yeah, Loomis has like this burn on his cheek that magically gets less severe throughout the movie. If you notice that in 4, it's just like it's by the end of it, it's barely there, and it's like
they just got tired of putting the prosthetic on.
Nobody's noticing. It's a horror movie. These fucking people that watch this are dumb. Mm-hmm. We ain't that dumb. We showed you. We caught you. Yeah, but you know, I guess my main bitch right out the gate with the new one would be that it just bring in an outside writer to maybe kind of go through and fine tune it. If there just would have been one person involved that maybe could have fine tuned some of the bullshit and said, nah, this don't make sense. This doesn't make sense, you know? Right.
Well, okay. So, Julian, the kid that she's babysitting, that the blonde's babysitting in the last one in Halloween. Mm-hmm. Okay. Remember when she gets killed, you know, he's in his closet or whatever.
Yeah.
Everybody else is out trick-or-treating. Why is this 8-9-year-old kid, you know, stuck with a babysitter ain't out trick-or-treating? That makes no sense.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Well, what religion was his parents?
Oh, well, yeah.
You never know.
Well, yeah, they don't, no, you're right. Yeah, I didn't, and I never thought of that, you know? So.
Well, I didn't until just now, so, you know. It's not like
but it makes no sense. Everybody's out trick-or-treating. You know, Michael's on this killing spree because you've seen him. I mean, he's going house to house, slaughtering people. And then all of a sudden, you know, here's this kid. Okay, it's time to go to bed.
Yeah, who knows, man? It's one of those things where there's some things you can come up with some bullshit like that and say, well, it could be, you know, it's against their religion or whatever. But, I mean, some things it's just like, no, that's fucking stupid. Like I think you brought up earlier in the week, you said something about why is it Jamie Lee Curtis and the cop just happened to get put in the same room right next to each other.
Yeah,
you know?
how convenient.
Yeah. Well, hey, that just opens the door for some dialogue. So.
Yeah. Well, then they couldn't have had the closer. The more he kills, the more he transcends. You know, they wouldn't have had that whole dialogue, which
was dumb.
I thought it was dumb. You know,
it was forced. It was like, where did you come up with that? Like nowhere within these last 2 movies or the original one did I ever think like, oh wow, every time he kills, he's getting more powerful. Other than the fact that he's, you know, pushing some Jason Voorhees territory with some of the kills.
Oh, absolutely.
He was getting a little bit more brutal, but I mean, still, it's like, I think the main reason they did that was because it's Hollywood and. Yeah. To keep people's attention, you can't just keep recycling the same kills. Like, even really, you watch like 4 and 5, his kills got a little bit more creative, you know. Right. Versus the first 2, it was kind of even the second one.
And it's you know, it's total eye candy. All the kills.
Yeah, I mean,
it's 100%. But you know, in the first one, the original Halloween, there was no
blood.
There was no blood. Yeah. I mean, that's like Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Not to get off subject, but the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre wasn't really a bloody movie.
Right.
You know, it insinuated it.
Yeah.
You know, which is sometimes a dark, you know, getting your own psychosis. You know, whoa, you know, and you're not really seeing it. You just think you are.
Yeah. I mean, it's just sometimes the way things are shot just is what does the trick more so. Like, I never even realized it until watching like different documentaries over the years on Halloween, and they always mention like, yeah, there was actually no blood in that movie, and it's like, fuck, there's not. And then every time I watched it after that, I'm like, I'm gonna find some blood. There's not any blood. Like when he slits Annie's throat in the car,
you don't.
There's no blood.
Yeah, you don't.
You just see his hand kind of do this, and her face hits the windshield, and you know, so it's like. Damn, there really is no, like, he slit that bitch's throat and there's no blood. How the hell did they pull that off? I guess, but you didn't think about it. Like, that scene was kind of horrifying in a way, you know, without needing the gore.
And I liked what they did with this Halloween Kills, with the car, with the fog, the whole setup.
Yeah.
I thought that was a cool homage. As soon as I seen it, I'm like, Annie in the car.
Right.
You know?
Yeah, there was definitely some cool little nods that they did to the original and stuff, but.
We was, my wife was sitting there. My wife is not a horror movie person, but she was sitting there and she's like, windows are foggy. You know, and she don't watch horror movies. She didn't, I don't even, she probably couldn't even recall the original Halloween, you know. She goes, those windows are foggy. Is somebody in there?
Yeah, if somebody that's not even a fan is catching on to something like that.
Yeah.
You know.
But why don't the people in the movie see it?
Yeah. Yeah, no shit.
Those windows are foggy. I'm not going in there.
Same reason that bitch just keeps running in the wrong direction.
Yeah,
every time she's chased by
Always
the killer.
tripping. Bitches be tripping.
Yeah. So I guess one thing I was going to bring up too, just to see what your opinion on it was, because I feel like obviously watching people on Facebook talk and belong into different groups, just because I don't really get involved and chime in with my opinion, but I always like reading people's opinions on it.
Right.
The flashback scenes. People seem to be just torn. Like, most people are either like, man, those flashback scenes were awesome. They paid tribute to the original and it looked awesome. Or people are like, fuck those were stupid. I kind of fell into the fuck those were stupid category. I'm not going to lie.
I really liked them. I liked the way they were shot because it looks like the original Halloween.
They were shot well, yeah. They did a good job at making him look.
They did that. I didn't like the scene with Lonnie on the sidewalk where he walks up and then two cops, and then, oh, there's the Myers house. I didn't like that because that just seemed like a cheap way to get Lonnie another person for a kill.
Yeah.
He was a character in the first one, but it just seemed kind of, that's a way to add him into this little group of people to introduce, you know what I mean?
Right.
So
when really, they didn't even need to do that because any real fan like you or we're going to remember the scene, right?
Yeah.
The whole Donald Pleasance.
Get your ass away from there, Lonnie.
Yeah, that was a really good impression. I was about to do it. You did it way better than I would have done it. So I'm glad you jumped in on that. But yeah, that scene. So, and I was telling my oldest daughter about it because she was like, well, he wasn't even in the original movie. I don't know why they freaking made that scene in there. I'm like, well, I don't know why they made the scene in there either. But he was in the original movie.
Right.
And then I reminded her of that scene, and she's like, oh, yeah, I guess I forgot about that. And I'm like, yeah, well, I've got 20 years of watching Halloween at least once a year on you. I sit there and watch it, and I can damn near recite the dialogue. That's one of the few movies I can sit there and I know the dialogue, and it's just funny to me. But
one thing I've been wanting to do is go back and watch the original because I want to see if they paid detail or, pay attention to the detail of what those kids were wearing when they encouraged them to go up to the house. You know what I mean? Because because I see the kids that was surrounding, when they was, when the cop pulled up and said somebody got murdered down the, block or whatever.
Right.
I'm like, those costumes don't look familiar. Is that the same group that was, taunting him to go up to when Pleasance did his thing?
Right. Yeah, I'm trying to remember what they were wearing. It's like I can picture the scene in my head, but I can't remember the costumes.
But see, it doesn't to me, because I can't recall it, it doesn't feel familiar. I'm like, are they wearing something different? You know what I mean? I got to go check on that.
I definitely appreciate that they just keep bringing back the Silver Shamrock costumes. I think that's funny that they throw it in there, because it's almost kind of just, it's just funny. I don't, what I mean?
It is.
They don't need to throw it in there. It doesn't make or break anything other than it's just I thought it was really funny how they did it in the first one. It was just really subtle.
Yeah.
And then
this one just stand out.
Yeah, this one is just
I'm one of the half of people that actually like Halloween 3.
I don't mind it now.
I don't like it as a Halloween movie.
Right.
But on its own, it's a good, cheap 80s horror movie. I could take a nap to that.
Right.
That's what qualifies as a great movie,
Yeah. No, I've always, when I remember watching it as a kid and just hating it because I'm just like, what, no Michael Myers? This is fucking stupid.
Yeah, yeah.
But then as I got older, it was just almost funny to revisit it because it was such a piece of shit. It was just like, oh, let's watch Halloween 3 because it's fucking stupid. But then I watched it as an adult and was like, well, this really ain't that bad. If it just would have been a different
stupid.
thing.
It's just
stupid,
not that bad.
But it's it's just got its, I guess maybe it's just anything you live with long enough, even if it's really dumb, it just grows on you or something, its quirks are finally recognized.
Yeah,
and, especially when it's something from your childhood, it might just be some weird reason that you dig it because it reminds you of being a kid. And
dude, I still watch all the movies I watched as a kid. Well, I watched all horror movies, so of course I watch.
Yeah, I guess that's why horror movies are like the guilty pleasure for me, because it's when I was a kid, that's just what I loved. And some people, I've had people tell me I liked it when I was a kid, but I don't really watch that shit anymore. It's like, why?
Why not?
What's wrong with liking the same shit you liked when you were a kid? You still watch Star Wars, don't you? And those movies, those new ones suck. Like, I don't care what anyone says.
Yeah. It's Star Wars. I'll love it no matter what. Do I think they're great? No, not at all. But no, I like Star Wars. I like them all. I like the way, I like to see where they take the story and see how they tie it all together.
Right.
I've grown up literally.
Right.
I was one of the kids that ordered the box with the figures, the action figures, but they hadn't made the action figures yet.
Yeah.
So
was that like was it like a Darth Vader head or something? Like,
no.
like the helmet
Well, they
head?
they had an action figure carrier that was a Darth Vader head. They had a C-3PO head, a Chewbacca, an R2-D2. But this was when the first movie came out. I don't remember if it was Mattel or what, but they hadn't made the action figures yet. But the movie came out so that you went and bought this giant, it was a box. It was a cardboard box with a clear cellophane where you could see inside like all the action figures, the little slots where they all went.
Yeah.
But there was none in there because they hadn't been made yet. So you bought that, then they mailed them to you.
Wow.
As they started getting them made.
Yeah. That's kind of a crazy concept. Yeah. I wasn't born until after Empire. So, I mean, I got into them, I guess, later than that. But I did have... That was like my earliest memories of toys was Star Wars toys, all the action figures and stuff. And I can still remember being really excited the day my dad brought home the big fucking Millennium Falcon. I got that. And I think I got like a secondhand one, like somebody he worked with or something's kid outgrew it or something.
Had the back half that snapped off.
Yeah.
You get down inside, and had that little chess table and stuff in there. Yep.
I thought it was just the coolest thing, man. Like, that's just, such an early memory. I was so young and I can remember it. I can remember the day he brought that home and it was just like, oh my God, I always wanted this. So.
Yeah, we, me and the neighbor kid, we had, I had the big AT-ATs, the walkers.
Yeah.
I had the vehicles from Sky. I had Dagobah. I had you'd buy like the worlds, they had like the Tatooine with the Jawas, and just different things and land speeders and all that. I had everything Star Wars. And me and my
you could retire if you still had that shit now.
Dude,
you could sell it.
Why did I play with it? Why did I ever open it? I didn't know.
My dad still gives my mom shit. Well, you sold all the Star Wars toys in that goddamn garage sale.
Yeah, right. But we lived out in the country, and we had like 5 acres of woods. Dude, me and the neighbor kid, man, we built like entire like indoor, you know what I mean? Planted indoor with trees. We had bridges going across and little huts. And man, his mom used to sew us Ewoks, like out of cloth and fuzz and stuff. And oh man, we had them all over trees and all of our toys around the woods. Yeah, that was a blast.
We just went on a Star Wars rant.
Yeah, right. We're in the middle of Halloween, What
the fuck were we talking about again? Well, I'm glad that we disagreed on the flashback scenes a little bit.
Yeah, no.
I'd hate for us to have the same opinion on everything.
Yeah, right.
I thought, the thing is, like, the Lonnie scene, I was like, that just seems like it's forced just to, like you said, bring that character and give him some kind of relevance that wasn't there necessarily before. But the scene where the cop shoots the other cop, I can't think of the cop's name off the top of my head for some reason, but the main dude in the
Frank.
Yeah,
that's the old guy in the hospital with Jamie Lee Curtis. Yeah. Frank.
No, I mean the other one. What's the other officer that shoots the?
Brackett.
Brackett. Yeah. God, I just was drawing a blank on that. But yeah, he shoots his partner in the neck, and I was like. That was really dumb. I thought that whole scene, I just was like, why?
It was just a reason to have blood,
yeah.
I think.
Well, and the weird thing was, too, it looked like Michael moved weird in that.
Yeah.
I mean, it was like, okay.
Well, they actually did have a stand-in, Michael.
Yeah.
For certain scenes. I was actually watching a documentary.
Like fast. Like, that's the fastest you've ever seen Michael.
Wham!
Dude, when he comes in, it's just like, all right, dude, like, he never moved that fast.
Cheap jump scare, you know.
It's like he didn't move that fast. You go back and watch that first one, it's like he never moved that fast. No. And even really in the rest of the...
and he did, like, the Lindsay chase when she ran out into the woods, and hid. He wasn't even running then.
Yeah.
It's like, why is he running in the house when...
Yeah, why isn't that one scene... It was just really inconsistent. It's one of those things.
Right.
Like, I'm nitpicking it as a fan and everything. You know, like maybe a lot of other people didn't notice it, but I was like, that didn't look right.
I like the mask a lot in this one. I thought it looked
good, yeah.
Really, really good.
I mean, they did great on the last one with the mask, and they did great with this one. I mean, it's not quite as good as like 4 and 5, but I'm just kidding. Those were atrocious, man.
That 5 when the final battle where Loomis has the whole chain thing set up in the house, you know?
Yeah.
The awful looking Myers house that was like, this doesn't look anything like the original.
Right.
You know what I mean? That mask he had on there was just, he's standing there and it's like,
Well, and it's also like, where the fuck did that mask come from? Because, so that's like a continuation off of 4, which part 4's mask is terrible too, but
yeah.
it just makes sense that, okay, it's not going to be the same mask because he gets it now in modern time, 1988 modern time or whatever, but so he gets it in that time. It's not obviously going to be the same mask from the original one, but
and that's when he gets it in 4 in the store.
Yeah, in the store.
Yeah, when Jamie Lloyd's in there. Yeah,
right. So it's like obviously the fact that it's slightly different is fine. It looks like shit, but I guess like I can kind of accept it. But then when 5 rolls around, and it should be the same mask, right? Like, he sails down the fucking little river and ends up in that dude's little...
and the old, homeless, the hermit guy or whatever.
Yeah, and he's like laying there, and the mask is sitting there next to the bed, so you can only assume that's the mask he came in with.
Yeah.
But yet it looks like a completely different mask.
Yeah,
just recycle the same shitty mask.
And the thing was, with 5... the director that they ended up using, I think they went through a few directors, but they got this French guy. And like he came in and he's like, this is what I want, and they're like, that Myers house is not even anything. He's like, all right, I don't care. He's like, you want to see, images? Nope, don't care. I mean, he literally was like, he's just telling his own story.
Yeah.
I mean, he had, because the Akkads, Mustafa at the time, and now it's Malik or however you pronounce his name, Malek or whatever.
Yeah.
But the Akkads, they had very specific rules about Michael. Like, you could not kill him. And there's, you can end him at the end, but you cannot kill him. You got to leave an opening for them to bring him back. And just all these guidelines that when they do these movies, and this French guy's, he just went like, whatever, I'm doing my own movie. And there was a whole big battle during 5. You know what I mean? Yeah, it was crazy. But the thing that pisses me off most about 5 is you have, in 4 and 5, it's basically a continuing story. So you got Rachel at the end of 4, which is Jamie's foster sister. And she ends up being this big badass. I mean, not big badass, but I mean, she
stands up and fights.
Yeah, she's the one who plows him with the truck to knock him in the well. And then all of a sudden, 20 minutes into 5, she's dead.
Yeah.
Like, she gets in the shower and then puts a sweater on. And
yeah, she's like dumb as fuck. Like, get out of the house. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, cop said it's fine, so I'm just going to go back in. Oh, never mind.
Well, it was just dumb that, and he I guess the director just did not like that character. So he's like, yeah, going to kill her off.
Did you notice, too, that when he comes out of the closet in that scene, it's like she's standing in this very small closet looking at her clothes, and his hand comes up over directly in front of her. Then it shows her from behind.
Yeah.
And she's looking in the closet, and it's like, you can't see him. Motherfucker's like 6'2", 6'3". Okay? Like his head would be, that big white mask would be above the line of clothes. I'm like, how was he hiding? The closet's not even as big as him, hardly.
Right.
Where was he?
Yeah. No, so much ridiculousness.
Yeah, as much as that movie is kind of a shit.
And what's up with the
movie.
Circus music, when the 2 cops, that they always have like the penny whistle and stuff. It's like,
like they were supposed to be like the comedic relief or something, and they kind of already were. I mean,
they didn't need the,
but you didn't need to add that. Yeah, like it was stupid. Like, I didn't understand that either. And I liked those characters.
Yeah,
actually, I thought they were. I don't hate 5. It has its issues for sure. I thought the big cliffhanger ending was awesome when I was a kid. I was like, oh my God. You know?
I loved every one of them. I can't complain about any of them growing up. I was always stoked. And I went in and I came out like, whoa. Yeah. I mean, and talk about it for weeks to my friends at school, you know.
6 bummed me out because it took so long to come out. 5 ended on that big cliffhanger, and you thought it was going to just be like, you thought 6 was going to blow your fucking mind. Like,
well, they introduced the Man in Black at the very end. You're like, what the fuck is that?
Yeah.
I mean, whoa. And then
you just kind of see him. There's like just a couple scenes throughout the movie where you see him to the point to where like the first time you watch it, it's of no significance. You're just like, oh, that's some dude crossing the street.
Right.
But then like at the end, he obviously plays a giant role in it, and you're like,
well, he gets him out of jail.
Right.
Kills all the.
And every time you rewatch 5, then you notice him in the background. You're like, oh, cool, that was actually kind of cool. And then 6 comes out, and it's like, what the fuck? Like, I remember watching that and just thinking, that's what they did with that. Like, talk about underwhelming. Like, meh.
The druid thing and the sign of thorn and then there was
Jamie
actually omitted. Huh?
And then Jamie having a baby.
Yeah, well, his baby.
I know.
The original was because they had it, and they omitted it from the theatrical release.
Right.
But the producer's cut was actually he had impregnated her.
Right.
And that's his baby, which is
terrible.
I see why they got rid of that.
Yeah. Well, I'm not gonna lie, dude. Like, I hadn't seen the producer's cut until they put it out on Blu-ray finally, like a couple of years ago or whenever it was, and I bought it and I was like, fuck, this wasn't any better. Like, it's almost worse. Like, I thought that if I finally saw the producer's cut, it was going to be like, oh, okay.
This makes sense now.
This ties some shit together. I get it. Instead, it was like, no. Somehow the fucking ending is even worse than that piece of shit ending that they had, which I know was like a result of, okay, Donald Pleasance died, so what do you do?
Yeah.
They couldn't really go back and reshoot it. Because I think that was the whole thing, wasn't it? That they wanted to go back and reshoot it, but he had died.
Yeah,
Instead, it was like, well, we're just going to have him walk in this room, and then you hear him scream, and then fuck it, he's dead. Okay. Whatever, man.
I'll tell you what. It was really good to see Loomis in Halloween Kills. Just for the couple little quick scenes he was in.
I think that they should have kept it. He looked good. They did a really good job with that actor.
Yeah.
And I'm glad it wasn't CGI. I think that they should have just stuck with like the faraway shots. There was a couple shots where it was like, you didn't need to get that close.
Yeah.
And he didn't need to be in it as much as he was.
Right.
And that whole line that stands out to me that really just seems so cheesy and stupid. Did he kill again? Did Michael kill again? Yeah. What do you fucking care? He just killed like 4 other fucking teenagers.
Yeah,
like,
why? What's the matter?
What's one more motherfucker? And then I thought it was stupid too that it was like Loomis was gonna shoot Michael, but then that cop ran up and
pulled his arm away.
Yeah, it's like, come on. Like, if Loomis was gonna fucking shoot him, he just would have shot him. It wouldn't have taken. He wouldn't have stood there
and thinking about it.
Yeah, he wouldn't have stood there thinking about it, and I don't know. And
which brings me back to 4 when we was talking about Michael getting his mask and Jamie Lloyd standing there. If Michael's as crazy as he thinks, or as he is portrayed in the movies, why don't you just kill her there? That's Michael fucking Myers. I mean, he can kill her anywhere.
Yeah.
I mean, what's the matter if he's in a store?
Waiting for?
I mean, you just kill her. That's his whole
stop and
drive.
Think about it. Yeah. I will say that I think the Jamie character was great. I mean, Danielle Harris did a really good job as a young kid, being that young. Yeah. And, I mean, well, at the beginning of 5 where she's in the hospital and everything, and she's screaming and everything, I mean.
But she has no voice.
She
can't talk. She's writing everything down. That was kind of dumb, I thought.
It was dumb, yeah. Like, why did she all of a sudden not have her voice, and why does she all of a sudden start talking halfway through the movie?
Yeah.
All of a sudden, it's like, never mind, now I'm going to talk.
Yeah.
Kids are fucking complicated. Rules. I get that because I have 3 of them, but that just didn't even make sense from a kid's perspective.
Well, in the end, I liked what they were trying to do with
the
her.
End of 4?
Yeah,
that's what you're saying.
Yeah. In 4 when she put the clown
I really
suit
liked
on.
that ending.
I did.
I think it's the second best ending in all the Halloween movies. Second to the original.
I can agree with that. Yeah.
Because it's really the only one where it was like, okay,
it's like a full circle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's like, I didn't see it coming. And so it almost bums me out when, 4 kind of starts up and it's just like, well, never mind. We're just going to carry on with this other story instead. And
do whatever we want to do, Yeah.
But I still think, like, I watched it the other night with my daughter and was like, man, I still like that ending. Like, it holds up, There's some things in a lot of these movies that don't hold up. And I think 4 might be the one that holds up the most out of the classics, second to the first one. I think the second one holds up, but is boring. Like, there's just like this whole stretch in the middle where it's like
nothing.
Yeah.
Nothing, man. Oh.
It's a bummer because I think the way it starts off is good. The chase at the end's good. And, Loomis blowing them up is good. I like the scene where he gets it in the eyes and he's,
Oh, yeah.
blood pouring down his eyes and he's just standing there just blind swinging. Yeah, dude, that's like a cool scene and everything. And
I loved 2. Halloween 2, even though it was a different actor playing Michael,
right?
I thought he did it well. I mean, when I was young, I didn't notice.
Yeah.
I mean, it was a scary dude going around the hospital, slaughtering people. Yeah. But
it just didn't have enough meat, I think, to the story because it's like, how do you make an hour and a half movie out of just piggybacking off the first one?
Yeah.
And having Jamie Lee Curtis in the hospital and
whose hair totally changed.
Yeah.
Overnight. I mean, not even overnight, like an hour, within an hour.
Well, they did her hair. That's the first thing they do when you go into the hospital.
Oh, yeah. They put
it into the ER. Yeah, they get their hairdresser in there and everything. They do your makeup. And they get you looking right, for the hospital gown. So I think her original haircut just didn't look right in that gown. So they had to.
And I thought it was funny that the only doctor, Dr. Mixter, was totally hammered.
Yeah. There's stuff I love about the second one, other than just like I said, man, it's just like there's just that stretch in the middle that's boring. Like they could trim that movie down to like an hour and 10 minutes, and it would just be a better movie.
Yeah.
It'd be short as fuck, but it'd be a way better movie,
Right.
And that nurse, that gets killed in the hot tub's pretty hot. So.
Oh, yeah. She's I was waiting for you to get here. I was actually going through some characters of it, and hers came up, and I'm like, and I've seen her now, and she's not bad looking.
Yeah, she probably
it's
holds
like,
up.
wow, man, she was smoking hot.
Yeah, she was, man. There was some characters that it's funny to me too because I was thinking about this, and you got these new reboots, the last 2, and man, there's no tits, there's no nudity.
No.
It's like, and you go back and watch the originals, and it's like, I think 4 and 5 maybe didn't quite have. It was like there kind of was, I think, maybe like.
Yeah, there was in 5. It was
there.
the blonde chick, the one that was dressed like the devil, and the one who got it with the pitchfork in the barn.
Oh, right, yeah.
And I don't really think there was any other.
Yeah, that was pretty much it between those 2 movies.
Yeah.
I mean, there was the other blonde that was kind of hot that I think you almost kind of
wanted to.
Yeah, you thought it was coming, but it never quite showed it, and then it was whatever. But,
oh yeah, the cop's daughter.
Yeah, in 5, yep.
Yeah, no, you're right.
And I think in 4 there was the other hot chick that she had really big tits, and this is definitely what we're going to talk about on this podcast. So get used to it. I mean, they're horror movies, so we're going to talk about tits.
Talk about tits, man. You got so many tits to look at, man.
They're a staple in classic horror movies, as far as I'm concerned.
Well, actually,
all
like the Friday the 13th franchise actually requires so many tits in a movie within a certain amount of time.
Yeah,
I'm good with it.
It should, because if you don't like titties, I'm not really interested in you being a fan of the show. So,
right, I support him.
Yeah. So man, that was kind of a weird thing I thought of. Like, they're just, I guess 4 technically didn't have any, but other than that, I think every one of them did. I mean, the Rob Zombie ones, obviously.
Oh, that was heavily sexually influenced.
Yeah, that dude's gonna throw tits and ass and More swear words.
Then yeah.
Maybe too much to a fault. I mean, if I'm going to, get into what bothers me about the Rob Zombie movies, I think that he just took it a little too far with adding his own style into those movies.
I agree. Now, I'm one of the guys that actually I like the background. I like the background story, the build up, how he, and his interpretation, shitty home, shitty family, you know what I mean? Shitty life at school,
Right.
He sold it well. I thought he did, and the kid that played, what's his name, like Farge or something like that. I thought he played a great Michael.
No, he did a good job. I think my biggest issue with the backstory is the stepdad character. And I think that just goes
Ronnie.
into, yeah.
Yeah.
And that just kind of goes into the whole thing I was saying. That super vulgar,
I will crawl over there and I will skull fuck
dialogue that Rob Zombie puts in his movies. I don't really, whatever, like nothing offends me. But
well, the first 30 seconds of the movie, you got a camera shot closing in on this house, and then all of a sudden it's just a barrage of just cussing and screaming, a baby's crying, and Michael in there cutting up a mouse. You know what I mean? It's like, and it's really overwhelming. That's kind of cool the way he started it. Then he brings it back down. It's like, okay, here's, so.
I think from the point where it jumps to Michael as an adult, I really like it from that point on.
Yeah.
I don't have any
it
complaints.
literally cuts. It's like he's a child, boom, next scene he's in, it's so.
And pretty much, everything from that on I don't mind. And the prison guards that were.
I thought that was cheesy.
Yeah. Like talking about raping the one chick and some of that shit was just like, again, it was like that over the top Rob Zombie dialogue that to me just was like out of place to a point of it being like a distraction the whole movie.
Yeah.
So that's why I have the problem with the Ronnie character, the prison guards. And
although
than that,
Ronnie is canon. He is canon. He really is. He was mentioned in the old movies. So, the Halloween movies.
Was he?
Yeah.
Why did I not catch this? You're going to have to hit me.
And it's even in the comic books. And I believe it's in the softback novel, too. Yeah, she was dating Ronnie. Yeah, he is canon. So.
Wow. Yeah, I know. I took a moment to pause there. Went too quiet, too much dead air. But I was trying to think. I was like,
I actually, and
now I'm going to go back and rewatch everything again.
Because I could see, he wasn't like a standout. It wasn't a big prominent thing. It was just kind of there was like just little hints and clues. You know what I mean? So he's a real character from way back.
Wow.
So
now I gotta go back and do some digging, man. You were way more insightful on that. Like, well, fuck, that gave me. You just blew my mind.
It's kind of like Ben Tramer. He's kind of one of them, and not even as popular as Ben Tramer. You know what I mean? So
I was hoping they were gonna somehow bring that back in Halloween Kills.
Yeah,
I thought that they were gonna like redo that scene of him getting killed.
I would have really loved to see Ben. Because she had this big crush on him. But. She's the shy, the smart girl, the one not having sex, the one that's going to live. So
when they did the flashback scenes, I think that's what they should have utilized. Like, take some scenes. Like, if you're going to do flashback scenes, do something like that almost tied it into 2. Even though I know 2's not supposed to exist.
Right.
But like we already knew he got captured.
Right.
I didn't really need to see it.
Yeah.
How he got captured.
Yeah, I kind of liked it.
I'll say the way that scene was shot, even though, like I said, I thought the hitting of the gun,
that was
don't
dumb.
shoot him, that was stupid. But that scene, the way it was shot out in front of the house,
it's totally reminiscent of the very.
Yeah, that was cool. I'll give him that. It just, I guess it could have been tastefully done.
But here's
quicker shots.
Watching the movie over and over and over 7 times at this time is how many times I've seen it.
So literally once a day for the last week.
Pretty much. But at the very end, they do all the, they beat him with bats and they shoot him and, she stabs him and he gets curb stomped and a pitchfork in the back, all this stuff. And he's laying, there in the road and he's reaching for the gun or the knife, she finally stabbed him. Okay. All this. And then after Jamie Lee Curtis does her little spiel about, the more he kills, the more he transcends, then all of a sudden he gets up and he just slaughters everybody.
Yeah.
Why didn't he just do that when he was standing in front of the Myers house in 1978 when they captured him?
Right.
I mean, come on.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's almost like that scene of him getting captured just should have been a way bigger thing.
Yeah, and I mean, it showed him beating his ass. That one cop sitting there beating him with a club and stuff, which, okay. But it's like...
Yeah. I let you capture me.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like he's getting captured for a reason, so he could hang out for 15 years. And
yeah, well, I did what I wanted to do tonight. I'll come back. I'll come back in a while, and yeah, pretty bizarre.
What did you think of H2O?
At the time it came out, I really liked it.
Yeah,
and her chopping his head off at the end, it was like, all right, he's fucking dead.
Yeah.
Like, there is they ended that motherfucker, and that's it.
And when they came out for the preview for the next one, I'm like, what?
Yeah. And then, honestly, no. That whole, it was actually the driver,
crushed his larynx, and...
Yeah, it's like, no, that's not what happened. This is fucking dumb. This does not line up. Resurrection was terrible on so many levels. I mean, that just pissed me off right out the gate. So I was already decided that fuck this movie. And then they killed Jamie Lee Curtis. Like, she just...
Yeah, okay.
All this fight in her for all that time, and somehow that's
dead.
the time she's fucking dead. Like, he shows up and just fucking kills her.
Yeah.
No big dedeal.
Yeah. Yeah, okay. Well, that's the end of her. Just falls down some trees, after. Yeah, that was pretty dumb.
I think H2O, not to interrupt you, but I guess just my final thought on H2O. Going back and rewatching it, I don't like it as much as I initially liked it, but it does have a solid enough rewatch value to where I can revisit it every
now and again. Yeah.
Every few years or something,
The thing, that one wiped out 2 through 6.
Or 4 through 6, right? 2 still counted in that timeline, right? Because
yeah,
she was still the sister
you're right. Yeah, 1, 2, and then H2O. Because it got rid of the whole Jamie character.
Right.
It introduced Josh Hartnett as her son.
Right.
Who
we never saw again. That character doesn't even count anymore.
Yeah, right, exactly. Yeah. But
they should just bring them all back in Halloween Ends. And just be like, just kidding, we all really exist.
Yeah,
and she
right.
is totally the sister of Michael Myers. Yay.
Right. Well, and originally Jamie was supposed to be the daughter of the ambulance driver and Jamie Lee Curtis.
Oh, okay.
You know what I'm talking about? The last Starfighter guy?
Yeah.
Yeah, him. Yeah. And in the original story, it was him and her together.
Okay.
They ended up together. But then they got divorced or whatever, and, So.
Yeah. I guess I never knew that detail.
Yeah, there's a lot of cool stuff about.
I just figured between, Jamie and then, Judy Greer's character and Josh Hartnett, I just figured she was kind of a slut and I figured that she slept around a bunch, like
right.
5 different marriages.
Probably.
5 different dads to 6 kids. And no, I don't know.
And here's the thing with Resurrection. Why'd that come out? Like the late 90s, I believe?
98 was H2O. I believe it was 2000 when Resurrection came out.
Was it 2000?
I want to say it was 2 years after.
But
I could be off, but...
So, okay. The premise is they got this house, the Myers house, wired with all these cameras for this internet feed that Busta Rhymes and
Tyra Banks,
yeah, that they're running this scare show. So you got all these cameras, and you got these people going into this house, and they're supposed to survive a night in the Myers house, which is a total setup by, Busta, just to get some scares, But anyway, you got the one nerd that the hot chick, the survivor chick, is, when Michael starts showing up, and he's going through all these rooms, and this kid's on the internet at a party, and everything's happening in real time. Now, Illinois internet, there's some lag.
Yeah, especially in 2000,
Yeah,
2001.
he's in the hallway. He's already done out. He's in the attic by now. You know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
like, come on, man.
I'm trying to think. What's that girl's name? Was it that? God, what's her name? Like Bianca.
The brunette chick?
Yeah, she was like the really hot.
Got
chick.
killed in the dumbwaiter.
Yeah,
Yeah,
she was.
Or got her
in,
leg chopped in the.
What was that one show that David Spade and
Just Shoot Me.
the one that came out after that.
Oh,
Where it was like he was the stupid little friend, and there was the two couples that lived in the same apartment. Was it Megan Price was the blonde chick? Is that her name?
I don't know.
I hope that was her name.
I don't know.
Otherwise I probably accidentally
I
said
don't know.
like a fucking
I
porn
honestly
star
don't.
name or something.
I can honestly say I don't think I've ever watched a David Spade.
Yeah, I don't.
TV
It's
show.
one of those shows that I didn't. Rules of Engagement.
Okay, I've heard
That's
of
what it
that.
was
I've
called.
heard of it. Okay.
And it was one of those. I don't think I watched it when it was originally on, but then it was one of those that they showed reruns after it was off the air.
Gotcha.
Like
Yeah.
at bedtime.
Yeah.
It'd always be on like when I'd be like going to bed.
Right,
Just dozing
right.
off to it. But yeah, dude, that brunette chick that was in. She was on that show and she was in Resurrection. She's fucking yeah. Is this really a show to talk about scary movies, or is it the fact that we know that our wives will not listen to it, so we can just talk tons of shit about all the
the hot chicks.
chicks in the movies? Yeah, yeah.
I don't know.
Well,
You know what
she's-
though? Honestly, growing up, I had the hots for Annie Brackett. Oh, I just and then
I get it.
and then I saw her in The Fog with
Yeah.
Jamie Lee Curtis and Janet Leigh.
Yeah.
Hal Holbrook. I mean, there was.
That's a cool movie. I'm sure there will be an episode on that
Oh
at
yeah.
some point in the future.
Yeah, yeah. We got to do one on The Fog.
That
I
we
love
gotta do the
Fog.
Howling. That's one we.
Oh, I love the Howling. The original. I actually I think the sequels suck.
I don't know that I've ever watched any of the sequels. I think I might have seen the second Howling, and that's it.
I think it's kind of one of them Sunday afternoon. Oh, look at that! It's on.
Yeah, they definitely went to shit, but that first one's great, man.
Oh yeah, Dee Wallace.
Yeah. Oh yeah, she's great and everything, man. I never really found her to be hot, but she's cool.
I think. Well, I did because I'm older than you. So, but I mean, she was Elliot's mom, E.T. I mean,
Yeah.
she's been in so much
Oh
stuff.
yeah, she's
you
been
know.
in tons of shit.
But
And Rob Zombie cast her and
oh
everything
yeah,
now,
and
too.
Halloween, and I thought she was a great. I thought she was awesome in that. You know.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah, because he's cast her in that. Lords of Salem. She
yeah.
was one of the witches.
I
in
did
that.
not like that.
Dude, I was just having this conversation like on my way home. I called my daughter about something and we got to talking about Halloween. And then she was talking about how she never saw the Rob Zombie Halloweens.
Right.
And I was like, blah, blah, blah. And then we said something about some of his other movies. And I said, really, I like that Lords of Salem movie. And she's like, really? I hated that movie.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm almost the only person I know that really liked Lords of Salem.
You know,
I think it was just so far out of left field for him. He was finally doing something that was really different.
Yeah. You know, it was cool to see Patricia Quentin. I hadn't seen her in years. I'm like, and I saw the name and I'm like, nuh-uh. And I'm like, of course, Magenta from Rocky Horror Picture Show.
Yeah.
And I was
I'm
like,
honestly
oh.
not a Rocky Horror Picture Show
Right,
fan,
right. But
I know I like one of the few people that just doesn't like that for
right,
some
right.
reason.
Yeah, it's for camp. It's excellent. You know, I mean, it is. I enjoy it. I love it or hate it.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm just not a big musical fan.
Right.
So,
Right.
ironically, as we were just talking, I was
It's talking about me
writing music for a musical, and it's like, whatever.
Yeah, but no, that was just one of them movies. It was hard for me to follow, but I like my horror dumb and cheesy. The more camp in it, the more I'm like, oh wow, look at that.
Yeah, I mean, it was his like art house film kind of,
Yeah,
The ending got really weird and shit, but I always like those weird.
No, weird's good, man.
So I dug it. Yeah, that's just one of those where I've yet to really find somebody that shared the opinion that I have on it, but I think the reason a lot of people didn't like it was because they wanted a Rob Zombie movie.
Yeah.
And then I felt like 31 came out, and that was just
31. Man, I was really excited to see that, and then I'm watching it, and it just seemed like the gore was forced just to have gore.
Well, and it just was totally underwhelming. Like a cool story,
Yeah,
cool actors in place.
Yeah.
That main character dude,
yeah.
I can't think of his name.
Well, he was in, wasn't he? Well, he was one of the ambulance driver in Rob Zombie's Halloween.
Yep.
Yeah.
I can't think of his name for the life of me, but
Yeah, that guy.
But he's like just super cool. Like there's something about him. He's just such a fucking
he's kind of a creepy
great
dude,
villain. Yeah, he's just a great villain because he is genuinely creepy. But it's like, man, it just seems like there was so much room to do something really great with that movie, and then it just was.
Yeah, it just kind of fizzled, man.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, I don't think I've ever made it to the end.
I mean, I did the first time I watched it.
I've watched it 3 or 4 times, and I make it to a different,
I mean, dude, I bought it on Blu-ray, like in the Walmart $8 rack or whatever.
Right.
And I've yet to watch it again. Like since buying it, like
Right.
I rented it when it came out, bought it on the clearance rack, never even played the DVD or the Blu-ray that I bought.
Yeah. It'll be one of them that 10 years down the road, I'll be like, oh, and it'll be on. Oh wow, well that wasn't so bad.
Maybe that's the thing. Is sometimes I think when you go into movies with no expectation, that's when you find out whether you really liked it or not.
Right.
And that's how I feel like with Halloween Kills. I was so pumped for it because I really liked the last one. And just being a big fan of the franchise and stuff, I'm going to be excited for everyone that comes out. And then I just it was over, and I was like, I don't even know how I feel. I know there was things I thought was really stupid along the way, but
well, okay, so I mean, they know what they're doing. I mean, the first movie was about Laurie reuniting with Michael Myers. That's what the first movie. This one's about the community and the community's reaction. The next one, I don't know what the formula is, but I'm gonna call it now. Her granddaughter is going to be the final girl.
Yeah, no. I think
Jamie's
so
going to
too.
go.
I think so too. I agree with that.
Yeah.
I knew this one. I knew someone was going to die. I knew one of them was going to die.
Well, they killed off the whole cast.
Right. But I mean, out of the girls, my prediction was Judy Greer, so Jamie Lee's daughter. I didn't think that they would kill Jamie Lee Curtis off this soon.
No.
Because you just can't. And I didn't think they'd kill the granddaughter off because I just didn't think they would kill the youngest one. You know what I mean?
Right. Well, I think she's going to be the continuing Laurie.
Yeah.
If they continue with this timeline or whatever, I know it's just a trilogy at this point, and it would be cool to see them finally put him to rest. Not that I don't love Michael Myers, and I hope 10 more years from now they'll reboot it, or you know what I mean.
I would rather they just keep continuing this timeline than do another reboot. I mean, unless it's like 15 years down the road.
Right. Yeah, give us some time.
Yeah, I don't want them just to do a trilogy and then go, okay, now we're going to reset it.
Yeah,
now we're going to pretend that 1 and 2 exist and 4, but we're going to pretend that 5 and everything after that doesn't exist.
Yeah.
Whoa, it's like, time out. If you're going to do that, just fucking reboot the whole thing.
just start over.
But
man.
I mean, I think the fact that they did omit the second one, and it gave them a chance to like reboot it without fucking with the first one.
Right.
Because the first one really is flawless. Nobody.
To me, the original Halloween is the perfect horror movie. To me.
It is. I agree. It's one of I say it all the time. It's one of my all-time favorite movies. Not just my all-time favorite horror movie. It's one of my all-time favorite movies.
Correct. Yeah.
Is there some really cheesy dialogue? Yeah. But it fits. There's just something about it, right? Like, I don't know, like, hey, creep, speed kills.
So dumb.
It's so dumb. But you know what? Fucking teenagers are that fucking stupid. Like, they say stupid shit.
Right.
I mean, so you're not really bothered by it. And I thought it was funny because I saw an argument somebody posted on one of these Halloween fan Facebook pages. And they were actually arguing like, well, if you got a problem with the bad dialogue in this movie, but you were okay with this, this, and this in the original, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, well, I see your point that you're making, and you kind of have a point, but at the same time, I don't know. Maybe it's because I grew up with all that. I grew up with that movie and saw it so many times that it's like, yeah, it's bad dialogue, but it also just fits the whole vibe of the movie.
It does.
You know?
It is. I mean, well, and it's a product of its time, you know. I mean, not, you know, it's Illinois. We don't, you know, I mean, maybe that's something they say wherever, you know what I mean? It's like, I know it's supposed to be Illinois, and it would, you know, I don't know. Yeah, it's just, there's a lot of flaws in the first one. I mean, and it's not story flaws or anything, because they don't introduce the Jamie Lee Curtis being his sister until part 2, you know.
Which is shitty. Like, every time I watch that, I'm like, yeah, that was the first shitty moment in Halloween history.
Yep. It's right there at school where Sam Haines written in blood on the, you know.
Yeah.
It's a sister. What? No, I thought it was cool, though. I thought that was badass.
I mean,
back
when
in
I was
the
a
day,
kid,
you know?
yeah. But now watching it, you are kind of like, yeah, that was forced. Like, that was probably the first moment in a Halloween movie where I was like, all right.
Well, they had to, okay, well, why is he chasing her? You know, I mean, we got to have a reason for him to go to the hospital.
The bitch was
after.
there.
Yeah, right.
You know, he was a psycho, and she was there, man.
Right.
She saw, you know, she just was across the street from where he killed Annie, you know.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
So,
and, you know, another thing, when she goes over to the house that Annie is babysitting in, and of course she finds him, you know, because he tries to stab her.
Yeah.
She falls over the stairwell, and then she goes running across. Okay, so if Halloween and Halloween 2 happen in the same night, it's not very fucking late in Halloween. And she's running, screaming, beating on doors. There's nobody out. Right. Not a single light on. Come on. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because before that, everybody was out trick-or-treating.
Yeah.
So it couldn't have been that late.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, exactly. And
especially if Halloween 2 took place in the middle of the night. How the fuck was there all this time for all this other shit to happen and still be nighttime? So it had to have been fairly early.
Right. And she's beating on people's door and they just shut the porch light off. It's like...
Who would really do that? Do people just randomly run up and down the streets in this neighborhood, pounding on the door, screaming? That's just another one of them fucking kids.
Yeah. What the hell? That was dumb.
Wow. Shitty neighborhood. Remind me not to move to Haddonfield.
Right. Lambkin Lane. Or no, it was, a couple blocks over from Lambkin, because that's the road that Michael lived on.
Yeah, I'm not remembering if there's a reference to the actual street that was on. I'm hoping that this new one, you know, because with 4 and 5, if you were to just watch 4 and 5 for the first time ever, right now, never seeing them, you would probably be like, what the fuck? You know what I mean? But, we've seen them so many times over the years because you're just a fan of the character.
Right.
Mike Myers and that whole story, and you're a fan of the original, so there's, like, I guess some part that keeps bringing you back. You just want to like every one of them. And I think that with that, you slowly learn over the years to appreciate these other films for what they are, you know?
Well, something new comes out and you're like, ooh. And then it's, you know, it don't live up to your expectations, you know, and that's my problem. And that's why I try not to let myself get hyped. Even though this last one, I was totally hyped, man, you know, but any movie, it don't have to be horror. You know, the original Batman with Michael Keaton.
Oh, yeah.
You know, there was so much hype. I mean, and there was just everything everywhere was Batman, and it was shoved in your face. Whether you went to McDonald's, you went to, you know, I mean, the grocery store. It was Batman in your face. This is the baddest thing ever, you know. And I didn't watch it when it first came out. I waited.
I waited saw that in the theater.
I waited for like a year when it came out on VHS. And I watched it, and I'm like, it's good.
Yeah.
But it's good. That's...
Right.
It wasn't... Yeah, I mean, everything was cool about it. And watching it, I've watched it multiple times. And I love that movie, but I'm like... the hype was so much, and I was like, it didn't deliver on the hype. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
I was pretty young, 89, so I was 8 years old, so it
I
delivered on the hype
graduated.
for me, man.
I just graduated. So.
Right, so yeah. My later teenage years, I feel like I pretty well picked movies apart and didn't appreciate them probably for what they were at the time. But I feel like, yeah, but late teens, early 20s, maybe I overthought stuff too much, and there was probably a lot of horror movies I didn't like in that time period just because I don't know what it was. Like, maybe I was just trying to be like some snobby, like a movie snob. Like, no, well, now I only watch The Godfather and Apocalypse Now, and
Yeah,
I don't know.
I
started-
had those phases, you know. And I remember going to the mom and pop video stores. Oh, and you see like all the video nasties on the rack, you know, and whatever had the most hardcore cover.
Yeah.
It's always like, oh, I ain't seen that one. Gates of Hell, you
Yeah.
know, Pieces. Man, I loved all that. Dude, Pieces. What a rock and roll horror movie, man. I mean, it's gruesome, you know, but it's like, I don't know if it's like New England or something, but on Halloween, I mean, to close it out, I mean, I don't really know what to say. I mean,
we'll do a Halloween rehash in a year or something.
yeah, right.
And maybe
right.
we'll have like a different perspective of Halloween Kills.
Right.
I might be sitting here going, dude, my favorite Halloween movie ever. Fuck the original. I love Halloween Kills. I'm never going to say that, but
right.
But I mean, it might totally, with time, when there's no expectation, you're not overthinking it. It
You
might
just-
just be like, fuck, dude, you know what? That was just a fun movie.
Yeah, and honestly, a lot of the kills, I mean, they reminded me of the old slash and hack horror movies I used to watch in the movie theater. I mean, just there was definitely scenes in there of just senseless killing.
Right.
You know, I mean, like the old couple next to Laurie's house.
Yeah.
You know, because I mean, they're, you know, the interracial couple. I mean, really, did he really need to go to that house? That was my first thought. But then, if you notice, his hand is bandaged up, and he's in the bathroom when the old man finds him.
Ah, okay. Yeah, I didn't really think
Because
about
remember,
that.
he gets his fingers blown off with the shotgun.
Yeah.
So
So
he was in the
bandaged up. Yeah.
bathroom bandaging himself up.
Well, see, another 6 watches, and I would have put that together, but you know, what can you do? Yeah, well, like I said, I'll rewatch it again, and for the sake of this episode being different from the next time we talk about it, it was probably better that I just came into this episode with one watch and a very narrow-minded
Right.
point of view.
Yeah.
Although, who knows? In a year from now, I might hate it. I might be like, you know what? That was so bad. Rob Zombie's Halloween 2 was better.
Oh, wow.
No, yeah, I ain't gonna
Doubt
say
that.
that. That's almost unwatchable at this point. But yeah, man, it was good chatting this stuff. Obviously, I think that there will be, with a franchise like this, we'll definitely be doing another Halloween episode at least when Halloween Ends comes out, if not before that. So,
Or when the next trilogy or
right.
storyline jump or, you know, timeline jump, whatever comes out.
Right. Well, on that note, thank you to everybody that listened, and happy Halloween.
Yeah, happy Halloween. Thank you.
Happy Halloween, 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 happy Halloween, Silver Shamrock. Happy Halloween, Halloween.
If you are thinking about starting your own podcast, look no further than Buzzsprout. Buzzsprout made it so simple that even I managed to figure this out and put together my own podcast. Once you have all the gear you need to get started, Buzzsprout makes the rest of it super easy. Everything from getting you started on monetizing your podcast so you can make money, because who doesn't like to make a little bit of extra coin? And on top of that, the best part about Buzzsprout is you can get started and try it out for free. So head over to buzzsprout.com today and make your podcasting dreams come true.